Hey guys, Metroid Prime Fan 18 here, and like I said in my last video, this video will be a game review. Really, this game is a different one from what I originally wanted to review, because I don't think I really know enough about the other game to do a review on it yet. So, and this is going to be a 4-part review, because I'm reviewing an entire series of this game. Yeah, I'll explain more about that in the coming videos. But the video game series that I am reviewing is what started on the N64 and gained huge popularity, that they ended up making 4 games of this series following the same storyline. The latest one in the series has the same name but does not follow the same story, but it does still have the same types of enemies in it. The series that I'm reviewing is the Turok series. And of course I'm going to go in chronological order, so that means the first game I'm going to review is Turok Dinosaur Hunter, or Turok 1 for the N64. When this game first came out, the amount of buzz around it was incredible. I saw on a website years ago, back when I was a freshman or sophomore in high school, when this game was first released, the popularity of it was so big, the people who made this game, along with a few other people in a city, I think it may have been LA, I'm not entirely sure, they actually changed the name of a street to Turok Boulevard. That's how popular this game was when it first came out. Now, enough about the backstory, let's get to the actual game. This game is about a warrior named, Turok is actually the name of his family's lineage. This warrior's actual name is Tal'Set. And he is a Native American to what I said, the Turok lineage, and he goes around killing forces of this evil overlord called the Campaigner, who is looking to rule this area called the Lost Land, or Lost World. There's a level called the Lost Land, but I think it's really called the Lost World. And your goal is basically to stop him. This game has one of the biggest arrays of weapons that I've ever seen. And this game came out in, I think, 97, I think. I'm not entirely sure. Someone correct me. I know I'm most likely not right. But this game has everything from your bow and arrow all the way to these big, huge, futuristic weapons, like the fusion cannon, alien weapon. The mightiest one of them all, the Chronoscepter. Yes. The gun that is only 3 shots long, and you can only use it without cheats. You only use it against the Campaigner himself, but it's just so incredible to use. Graphic-wise, for an N64 first-person shooter, the graphics on this game, especially for back in the 90s, was amazing. I mean, nothing looked too low-res, for an N64 game of that time period. The enemies looked pretty good. The environments, the lush jungle environments and everything, from that is what wowed many many people. Everything from all the different kinds of terrain, like from caves to mountains to jungles to cities, ruins of ancient cities, and just a huge array of enemies, from beetles to T-Rex. Big comparison, I know. Gameplay wise, very easy game to learn how to play. This is one of the N64 games that, instead of using the control stick to walk forward like a lot of other games, but you can actually fix that, it uses the C up button, which is a hell of a lot easier in my opinion. For one thing, it doesn't hurt your right thumb from pushing on that control stick all that time. And because the N64's control stick is made with some sort of different, I guess a different kind of joint than today's controllers, the control stick felt a lot more stiff on the N64, so using it to walk wasn't really all that useful. But it's really easy to learn. There's barely any curve at all. There's one really important move in this game called the diagonal jump, which is used for making long distance jumps. And at first I was like, well, how does that make any difference? Well, it does. If you sidestep and run forward at the same time, you actually run faster and you jump way further. You'll need it, trust me. This game has, it was one of the first FPS games, if I'm right, that had boss battles. And they definitely ran along with this for future Turok games. This game had four, I think four, yeah, four bosses. One at the end of level 3, one at the end of 5, one at the end of 8. Well, actually, two at the end of 8. As soon as you beat one boss, you find the last piece of the Chronoceptor and then face off with the campaigner himself, who is the big boss. Story, really, there's not much of a story. There's no cutscenes or anything, except for the intro, I guess, where Tal'Set shoots the arrow through the O and the Turok logo, which shows I know you can't see it, but in the O and the cartridge there's a crosshair that's leading right into a T-Rex's mouth. It's pretty bitchin'. But yeah, I mean, this game was just groundbreaking for its time. It had lots of weapons, it had fun gameplay, decent challenge. Like I said, all these arrays of awesome weapons, from like the pistol to the fusion cannon, which actually is the most powerful weapon in the game, but you can't use it against the Chronoceptor campaigner because some sort of magical power he has prevents you from using any charged weapons, except for the Chronoceptor. Obviously, it's the Almighty; none can stop it. A few flaws I have with this game, or few complaints I have about it. For one thing, the jumping can seem really awkward at times, especially in level 7, the Lost Land. There are some platforms you have to jump on, and these platforms are oddly shaped. They're not perfect circles. They're shaped like this, and they have like a triangle-shaped gap, which is just big enough for Tal'Set to fall through if you don't jump far enough. And if you die, you start back with... If you had a backpack, which doubles your ammo supply for all your weapons, almost all your weapons, you start back with no backpack, and your weapons start back with their usual ammo. So you have to find a backpack again. Whenever I die, I just start back at a save point I had. That's why I try not to die. Some of the levels also can be a bit confusing, especially level 8, because it's pretty much just all in a fortress with tons of forks in the road, twists and turns, all that. But you have an in-game map to help you, and trust me, it will come in handy for some levels. Save points, just like with Killzone, I know that was years after this game, but still, it did have some problems. Sometimes save points seemed a little spread out, but very rarely. I think there was only one level where I really had that problem. But back to confusing levels. Level 5, the Catacombs, was the worst. That was no. Level 8 was Level 8 was nowhere near as bad as the Catacombs. Catacombs is a nightmare to get through my first time. But now I can pretty much find everything in all the rooms and get through it no problem. That's because I've beaten it a lot, a whole lot. Aside from that, I really don't have any other gripes. I mean, everything about this game is just amazing. The jumping is awkward, I will admit. Sometimes the map may not seem as useful as it is. All in all, this is it's definitely one of the gems of the N64. Definite classic. If you don't have it, get it. I mean, I don't know if this game is expensive by now or not. Sometimes they sell classics online for quite a bit, but sometimes they're sold for like $2, used or new. So if you don't have it and you're an FPS fan, you have an N64, or you have an emulator for the N64. I don't run an emulator, so I wouldn't know. Then get this game. It's definitely worth it. Overall, I give this game a 9.5 out of 10. Only flaw I can really find, well, the jumping you can kind of look past. The maps can be kind of a killer, so I think I'll just bump that slightly down to a 9.1. But it still passes the 9 mark. It's an awesome game to get. It's not too long, it's not too short, it's not too hard. Decent challenge, good amount of time spent on it. Amazing array of weapons, enemies, boss fights. I mean, this game basically has it all. Not to mention the music in some of the levels is pretty cool. And so yeah, that ends my first part of my 4-part review on the Turok series. Next up will be Turok 2, Seeds of Evil. And I don't know if I'll be able to do that now. I might be able to. But until then, see you guys later.